Welcome to today's edition of the Construction CPA's Coffee Cafe. I am the Construction CPA, Lisa Raish, and we are dropping the hammer on cash flow problems so you can build things that matter. And this morning's topic is general small business accounting tips. And these are going to be general tips that I think every business needs to think about and abide by, regardless of how small your small business is. Maybe you're doing $500,000 in gross revenues a year and you're doing upwards of 5 or 10 million in gross revenues. You're still a small business, and these are going to be important tips for you regardless of that size. So first and foremost, we are accountants here. And so making sure that you have a proper accounting system in place is key to any profitable, strong, small business. You want to be using, there are a number of different products out there. We happen to use QuickBooks Online here. That is not the only product. It just happens to be the one that we use as the base of our platform. So our clients are typically all on QuickBooks Online. We have a handful that are on desktop. It just makes it easier for us to understand how to use and get around in the product. But you want to have somebody, it doesn't have to be you, small business owner, that is maintaining your accounting system, but you need to have somebody in your business who can maintain that for you. So there are products like QuickBooks Online, which most people are familiar with. There's other products. There is Sage products. There is Xero, FreshBooks. I believe there's a product called Wave. So there's a number of different products out there. What you want to do is find the right one for you at this moment in time, but also think about what are you going to want or need in the near future. So you may not need something robust today, but within a year or so, you might. So it might make sense to be on a more robust product to take care of what your needs will be in the future. So again, make sure you have the right accounting system in place. There is no one size fits all. We happen to have a lot of clients on QuickBooks Online. As I mentioned, it is not the only one. There are many products, but you want somebody who can move fluidly through the product so that you are getting the best information out of your financial systems versus someone that doesn't necessarily know how to use the product that you've chosen. And therefore, you're questioning whether or not the information coming out of the system really, truly is the best information possible. The next thing is going to be tracking your revenue and your expenses, or your income and your expenses. If you are using an accounting system, that's going to do a large portion of the tracking for you, but there might be parts of that are going to live outside of your accounting system. So you want to make sure that whatever you're using, you're tracking in a system that works for you, works for the size of your business, and it works for the size of your business if it's growing. So for example, we happen to use a couple of different products. You've heard us mention it before. We use Dext for receipts. We use Bill for paying bills for clients. These are all ways for us to also track the client's expenses. So Dext helps us grab pictures, PDFs, JPEGs, etc., of the client's expenses, receipts, invoices, and matching them up with the actual invoices and the expenses and the payments that we have in their accounting system. It helps us keep track of the actual payment, but then also what we were paying in regards to that particular payment. You can use something like Bill also for tracking your invoicing if you choose to do. Again, these all are kind of living harmoniously with the accounting system. These are going to be other products and tools that you're going to use simultaneously with those products, but they're great ways for you to track all of your income, your revenue, your expenses, your payments in a handful of places that will sync together. The information will kind of speak to each other. We'll share the information, but it has that information all in one place. So you're utilizing various types of cloud technologies in order to maintain that information, but really it's there for you almost at your fingertips should you want or need to look at something. So for example, the client questions an expense, we can go into QuickBooks and very easily pull down the receipt or the invoice that's attached to it. And, there we have our documentation to support it. Same thing with the invoicing. This is the invoice. This is the service. Many of our clients are using, for invoicing, they partially use QuickBooks. Most of our clients, if they are filing the AIA certificates for their construction projects, they are using the QuickBooks in addition to it, potentially to offer someone an electronic way to make payments. But then it also provides a way to maintain the invoice, in a structured format where we can go in and just look at, and then we've got copies of the AIA certificate attached to it, but we can see the invoice. And so we're just tracking the revenue and expenses in one location so that we can quickly pull information out of it should we need to. Now, that's not saying that you should not have. Some people are still going to maintain paper file cabinets. We personally do not use a paper file cabinet. We are completely electronic here. That does not mean that's the way you have to be, but we are finding more and more of our clients are moving to more electronic cloud-based platforms to save and share information. So again, when you are tracking your income and your expenses, do it in a way that works for you with digital receipts, automatic categorization. Work with what works for you, but keep in mind, as you grow, you might want to adjust that. So looking to the future to potentially other products or items that you will use that you won't use today, but maybe you'll use in the next year or two. Your invoicing, and we talked a little bit about that. It's incredibly important that you have a process around your invoicing and your receivable management. If you are sending invoices, are you sending them on specific days of the month or specific days of the week? Are you sending your collection emails on specific days of the month, specific days of the week? We tend to use templated emails when we're doing collections with clients. We create various templates for various points in the collection of the relationship. So it doesn't have to be something you're recreating, but we always recommend that you get into some sort of rhythm or cadence in creating a schedule around when you do certain things so that you know that you are in fact doing them each and every week, month, whatever it is that you need to do, but they're actually getting done. So you invoice on a Tuesday every week. You send your reminder emails out on a Thursday. Again, you have a nice cadence for your accounting people, for your office manager, whoever it is. All of those things are actually being done on a regular and consistent basis, and therefore you can track and keep up with your receivables. There are always going to be softwares and technologies out there. There are tons of them available. And sometimes we even get overwhelmed by the number of products that are out there. But we work with a lot of construction clients. A lot of our clients are using project management systems. So a lot of those systems will, in fact, allow the client to send an invoice out of it, to track it. The customer can go into their portal, see exactly what they owe, what they've paid to date. Sometimes these portals are interactive, so they can see prior work that has been done. If they have a project that is currently being worked on, sometimes there's an ability for the customer for our clients to put pictures of the progress of the project in there. Again, that gives one sole place for you to go to track your receivables, but then also your customer can go there and see whether or not they owe you money or what they have paid up to this point. So again, we talk a lot about software and tools and electronic cloud-based options, but those are in many ways not the only way, the more efficient way to move now so that you can have that interaction with your client without actually having to, physically talk to them on the phone or having a team member that is calling and talking to someone. That can be time consuming. So again, we typically recommend, if there are software or electronic tools out there that can improve a client's efficiency, especially around invoicing and collections, we typically recommend that they utilize the tools that they have, or maybe adding modules to tools that they already have, so that they can become more efficient, not only themselves as the owners, but finding that time and that efficiency within their team members also. You're going to want to understand your cash flow. Where is your cash coming from? Where is it going? When does it come in? When does it go out? Profitable on paper businesses that don't have their cash flow in check can fail just as easily as a business that doesn't have the revenues could potentially fail. You need to have a very keen eye on where your dollars are ebbing and flowing, where they're coming in and they're going out. You need to know when the next dollars are coming in and where the next set of dollars need to go out. So we do cash flow management. So we do cash flow forecasting with clients. Again, we are looking to see the invoices that they currently have outstanding. When do we think they're going to get paid? The expenses that they have that are, that they have as their payables. What needs to be paid next and when, and really mapping out where that cash is coming and going. So we monitor the cash. You're going to want to monitor where, again, it's coming in and going back out. You're going to want to do budgeting so that you can see where you think the cash is going to need to go out in future months and so on. So cash flow management is key, along with understanding your invoicing as well as your process and your procedures around your collections of your invoices to ensure you, in fact, have proper cash flow in place in order to continue to perpetuate your business, pay your expenses, grow, and do what it is that you want to do in your business. So we are coming into that period of the year where everyone is tracking tax because it is tax prep time. So everyone's mind is, oh no, I need to do my tax return. Well, when you are in business, you really want to be thinking about how you're tracking everything and maintaining all that information throughout the year, so that when you get to tax time in January, February, March of the next year, you aren't going back and recreating the wheel and pulling all the information together. You've collected that information throughout the year, and now you have it in your hands so that you can simply hand that off to your preparer and they can prepare your tax return and you remain compliant. Because that really is the most important thing is, you want to maintain that compliance. You want to file on a timely basis. You want to pay in a timely basis. And so those are the things you want to think about as well. Going back to maintaining your revenue and your expenses and tracking it, you're also going to use that information throughout the year because now you want to think about some of the tax savings tools that may be in place for you. So you're thinking about that throughout the year, so that when you do come into the next year, it simply is the filing of that tax return. You're not going back and having to find ways to save money. You already know where the places that you can and will be saving money because it's something that you planned out throughout the year. And now you're simply just submitting the tax return. So you want to keep good records. It is your responsibility as the business owner and as the taxpayer to maintain your own records. Should you be audited at any point, it is your responsibility to be able to turn over those records to whichever taxing authority is auditing you to show support and documentation of your revenue and expenses. It's your responsibility as the business owner to provide that information. So you want to make sure that you're keeping track of it all the time so that should that day come up, which we never wish that upon anyone, but should that day come, you have the information in place and you have the ability to turn over that documentation to whomever the auditor is. And here, this is the information. This is what I have that supports my expenses, my revenue. It supports the tax savings tools that, the tax opportunities that we have taken advantage of. There, all of it is there and is supporting the stance that you've taken with regard to that return on it. And again, you always want to make sure that you are mindful of the tax deadlines and staying compliant within those tax deadlines. It does get very expensive if you miss deadlines, if you miss payment dates. So you really want to be mindful of that. We don't like to see clients incur penalties and interest for not paying timely or not filing timely. It gets very, very expensive. So you want to be mindful of the upcoming date. So everyone knows April 15, that's your personal tax deadline, right? That's an important one. There are other ones throughout the year. You want to make sure you work closely with your tax professional to understand what the tax deadlines are in regards to your business, because it might be different for your business versus, say, your next door neighbor's business or a friend's business. So again, work with your tax professional to make sure that you understand what all the deadlines are and that you are compliant with them. You want to make sure that you are keeping track of your revenue and your expenses so that you can actually analyze that information. You can make decisions based off of that information. So you want to be able to interpret that financial information to determine, can I hire another person? Should I hire another person? Can I increase my revenues by 15% next year like I'm hoping for? Those are all things that if you have your financial information in place, you can use those as tools to build on and grow your business and make good, solid financial decisions. If you don't have that financial information, it becomes very challenging to make decisions about things like, should I hire a new person? Do I hire a manager? Do I raise up an individual who I currently have into more of a supervisory position? If you don't know financially where you are, it makes it very hard to make decisions like that. Again, we use a number of different tools with our clients when it comes to looking at the client's financials from a more analytical standpoint. We happen to use we use a product called Live Plan that we like to use. It helps us to help the client create budgets and forecasts. We also use another product called Fathom that does the same thing. It'll also show us the client's KPIs or the client's key performance indicators. Another tool that we use is also called Profit Sense. Again, it will help us, it will show us different KPIs for a client, their industry, the location in the country that they are, so on and so forth. Those are not the only tools. Those just happen to be the tools that we use, but they are wonderful tools to help you see where you are and help you do planning and then understand kind of where you're falling within your industry. If you have any questions, we always love to hear from you. So please drop them in the chat. We'll get back to you with any questions that you may have. We look forward to seeing you here every Friday morning. And we are, sorry, it's the end of a Friday morning. So we look forward to seeing you here every Friday morning. So have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.